Welcome to Yoga Hour. Sit up nice and tall through your spine. Take a moment to turn your gaze low or close the eyes. Step into your breath. We almost always start practice here. A moment of awareness. Take a body scan to notice how you're feeling, where you want to send the loving awareness of energy throughout the body today in practice. And this month, the mantra's focus is let it go. I'm specifically working to let go of self-limiting beliefs. That can show up a ton in our asana practice because so many of these postures are repeated time and time again. At least for me, it's really easy to get in my head about the poses I like, the poses I don't like, the way I feel about myself in certain poses. As much as possible, just be fully present with your breath and the movement. Release even just one of those stories. And we'll play today. The Yoga Hour sequence this month in my books that I use is sequence 25. The woman who made this sequence, her name is Yomasaki. She's from Japan and has a really thriving Yoga Hour studio in Japan. I spent a week with Yo in St. Louis at a training many years ago. She's incredibly kind and unassuming. And then she steps onto her mat in the seat of the teacher and is 10 times everyone in the room. I've always felt that her spirit is one that must be letting go to be able to be that big in front of the room as the teacher. One more breath here in your seat. As you open the eyes, reach the arms up to the sky. Be as big as possible right here. And then right hand down by your side, float all the way over into a side body stretch. Both arms back up. Float on over to the other side. Good, and both arms up. Release the arms down by your side and make your way over to all fours. As you come to all fours, start to move in cat and cow. For those joining live, I'm setting the music on here. And if you happen to be joining us on the recording, I'm going to have a link to the music that we're using right about where you pressed play. All right, so we join here in cat and cow. Just move the spine back and forth. Return to a neutral spine and flip your hands around 180 degrees so that your fingers face towards the knees. And lift your right leg up and back. So southpaw tiger, and we're gonna swing that leg over to the side and back. kind of crossing center line of the body. Just give it a couple of good swings. And come back to the middle, set the knee down. Lift your left leg up, look forward, pull the chest through, and swing your tiger tail. About 3 times here, big swing. Set it down, turn the hands around and stretch into downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. And then press both heels evenly towards the ground, whether your legs are straight or not, doesn't matter. But an even reach through the body here. Also give those hands a good press down and forward as you stretch your hips high. Inhale and come forward to plank pose. And then your lower push-up, hover if you can, right above the mat. It's right off the bat here. Hold on to all of your strength with knees up or down. Hover, hover, hover. And then lay it flat down to the mat. Reach your hands back behind you. Turn the palms up to the sky and lift for cobra. And then lower it down and change to downward facing dog. So that's the high end of that push-up. Into down dog. Take your right hand to the outside of the left leg. Try to reach all the way down to your outer ankle for twisted down dog. And then place the right hand back down. Come forward to plank. Do 1 push-up. Back to downward facing dog. And then take your left hand and hold on to the outside of the right leg. Reach way down towards the outer ankle to pull the torso through. Place the left hand back down, move forward to plank. Add your push-up, downward facing dog. Look to your hands, no limits here. Jump to the front of your mat. Stand up, mountain pose, claim your space. Lift both arms up to the sky. Interlace the hands, send the thumb and first finger high. Really squeeze the upper arm bones into one another. And lean towards your right side. This crescent shape, keep reaching out through the fingertips and press your hips away. Come back across the center and do the same to the opposite direction. This always gets my body heated up. Inhale to the middle. Interlace your hands behind your back now. Squeeze the elbows towards one another. Lift the chest, proud, puff it out. And then straighten the arms. Add chair pose, bend the knees, sit down low into your thighs. Send your head towards your knees and your arms to the sky. So power pose with hands bound. Give it 1 more breath right there. And let your hands release and drape down to the floor. Downward facing dog, step back. Lift your right leg up into the air, 3-legged dog. Bend your knee, open the hip. Make big circles, knee down and around. Down and around. Go the opposite way in your circle. Keep clawing the earth with your finger pads. Keep your arms straight and strong. Good. This is side plank. Step your right foot halfway through towards plank. Towards your lunge. Halfway through, face the side, and then lift your right arm up to the sky. Side plank with your little kickstand there of the right foot, and then pulse your hips up higher, higher, and higher. Step back to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up into the air, 3-legged dog, bend the knee, open the hip. And try those same big circles, knee down and around, down and around. Opposite direction, 2 big circles. And side plank with the kickstand, you step the left foot halfway up, Turn the toes out, turn to the side length. Balance on right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Lift your left arm up to the sky. Pulse the hips 3 times. Up, up, and up. Plank pose this time. Lower down, hover, chaturanga. Cobra, peel the chest through. Press down through your hands and feet. Child's pose, press back. Breathe. Back to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Again, right leg up into the air, 3-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. This time, pull the knee into the chest, hover forward, and step it into your low lunge. Take your right hand high into our twisted or revolved lunge here. Good, and then change right to down dog lunge, hands to the inside. Spin the back heel down, reach and walk the fingertips out, out, out. Barely any weight in the hands. Push back into the left leg and broaden through the front knee. Walk the hands back in around the front foot, plank pose. You choose now, hold plank or add the vinyasa flow through chaturanga to cobra or up dog and into downward facing dog. Left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Step it all the way through to your lunge. Left hand high. Down dog lunge, back heel down, walk the hands to the inside. Work with your breath. And then bring the hands again back around the front foot. This time step forward to the front of the mat. Lift up halfway. Fold over the legs. Stand all the way up. Reach to the sky. And bring the palms together, center of your chest. Pause for just a moment. Close the eyes or gaze low. Seeing that intention. What are you letting go of? So that you can be bigger, brighter, fuller, stronger. Keep the right foot forward, step your left foot back so that you come into a high lunge. Now make sure your back foot is hip distance apart. You don't want to be on a tightrope with the front leg. Use hip distance to make the lunge a little easier. And if anything, we're weighting into the front heel just a little more than the back leg. Now you might hear me say, lean back often. Yes, that's the case. We want our torso straight up and down, but still a nice press through that front heel to make this a healthy stance. Lift both arms up to the sky. And then if you have enough weight in that front leg to keep you balanced, changing here to warrior 3, not so bad. Tilt the torso forward, make a little bit of a leap. Lift the back leg up, warrior 3. Transition again to your high lunge, set the back heel, back toes down, lift the torso straight up and down. Bring the hands to prayer. Push the palms actively towards one another to extend the elbows out. Nice isometric strength happening in chest and upper arms here. And then step the left foot forward. Take the hands about halfway out in front of you, still a nice bend in the elbows, point the fingers forward. We'll keep going with that nice strengthening in the chest. And keep left foot forward, step the right foot back. Just a little bonus there. And then we get to change, arms up to the sky. Push down through the front heel so that it's already ready for you. More balanced, more in control. You've got this. Warrior 3. Lunge forward. Go get what you want. And if you fall off balance, you just try it again. No big deal. High lunge again, arms to the sky. This time, palms down either side of the front foot. Step forward into a bent knee forward fold. Mountain pose, stand up again. Claim your space. We've already done this. Interlace the hands behind your back, hug the elbows in, bend your knees, sit low. Reach the arms up to the sky. Again, power pose with hands bound here behind your back. Give it one more breath. And then release the hands down either side of the front of the feet and step back to downward facing dog. Put the feet together in downward facing dog, so heels touch. And then keeping that, we'll go to side plank with feet stacked. So left hand, spin to the outer edge of the left leg. Stack the feet, right hand up to the sky. Try to keep the feet stacked and move over to the other side. Right hand goes down, left arm goes up. Both hands down, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward into your low lunge. Lower the back knee down to the ground. Pull your left heel towards your hip. Walk both hands up to your front thigh. Today we're going same hand to the foot. So left arm high. Open up, look back at your left leg. Then hold on to it. Whole body still upright here to support you. Pull the back heel closer in. Do that with the force of your arm. You spin the fingers forward, point the elbow up to the sky. And then that right hand, if you'd like, can go lower. Fingertips to the floor. I'm going to keep elbow to the knee. That seems to be the thing that works best. Torso can stay open towards that left side. Or try spinning both hips and shoulders back towards the front leg. Slow release here, be kind. Nice low lunge, step through plank. Down to the mat, cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward into the low lunge, right into it here. So back knee goes down, hands up to the front thigh, pull your right heel in towards your bum. This might be your first stopping stage. Second thing is to turn and open so that you can see your back foot. That is a bigger ask in that top shoulder. Making sure the shoulder's still happy with you. You squeeze the heel closer in by bending at the elbow. Spin the fingers around. Elbow points up more towards the sky. Maybe try to get your hips and shoulders to face the front leg. That left hand can stay elbow to the knee or more down to the floor. Nice slow release again. Plank pose. Through your chaturanga, lower to the mat. Cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Walk your hands backwards to your feet so you end up more towards the end of your yoga mat. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, both arms to the sky. Keep the arms overhead here. And right away, step the right foot forward into your high lunge. Find your full stride. Again, still putting a little bit more effort into that front heel. Instead of going warrior 3, we're still going to balance onto that front leg, but we're taking this into eagle pose. Legs first. Pick up your left leg, step it forward, wrap it over the right. Wrap your left arm under the right. Eagle pose. Garudasana. Squeeze tight towards the midline. Think torso vertical, straight up and down. I go back to your high lunge. Unwrap the leg. Step it back. Unwrap the arms. Lift high. Hands down to the mat. Plank pose. Lower through cobra or up dog into downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Lift up halfway. Fold over. Stand up, arms to the sky. Keep the arms up right into the second side. Step the left foot forward. Find your lunge. Again, root into that front heel today. That being your steady spot, and then wrap the right leg over the left for eagle. Bring it forward, step it up, fold it over. Right arm underneath. You can hold hands or shoulders here. Again, we'll like to lean forward. Try to get as much distance as you can between the elbows and knees. That's through an upright spine. Go back to your high lunge. Step the right foot back. Find your placement. Press through the front heel. Unwrap the arms. Lower the hands, plank pose. We've got another vinyasa flow or a hold of plank. Remember, you can always hold plank, always knees or toes. Got to find your way so that the practice doesn't stump you, but it keeps releasing enough to keep you free. Look forward in between the hands. Step or jump your way to the front of the mat now. Half lift, forward fold, stand up, arms to the sky, and palms together, center of the chest. This next flow takes us into wild thing pose. We've prepped for it through the side planks, so you've got this. Arms high, exhale, fold. Half lift, downward facing dog. Step right on back to down dog. Right leg goes up into the air, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip. Take some big hip circles down and around. Now remember that first time in side plank, you step the foot halfway forward. We're gonna let the leg go behind our back this time. So flip all the way over. That right foot comes halfway up behind us. Keep left leg straight, left arm straight, just like your side plank. Lift the right hand up. You can bend in both knees to help turn through hips and shoulders to face more up to the sky. And then try straightening again through the left leg. This takes into a stacked side plank to get out of it. Look down at your left foot. Stack the feet. Downward dog. Right into the second side. Lift the left leg high. Bend the knee, open the hip. I always want to think of this pose, wild thing. Wearing my shirt today, this is Wild at Heart. Something fun and playful. I think it's an easy one to get into our heads about the mechanics. You've got all the pieces that you need. Let the left foot go behind you. You can bend both knees right away, but try to straighten out through that right leg. Lift the left arm to the sky. That's Katha Makrasana. That's your wild thing pose. We enhance it a little bit by turning both hips and shoulders to face more towards the sky. Takes a bend through the knees to make it more easeful. And then you straighten out through the right leg. Stack into your side plank and take it to full plank, both hands to the ground. Lower down to the mat, fully down. Cobra, keep the hips on the ground here and peel the chest up. So no up dog, keep it in cobra for a moment. Lower it down. Child's pose, press back. Change to downward facing dog. Look to your hands. Again, go for this one here. A big step, maybe even a jump. Go for it. Front of the mat. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Bring the hands to Anjali Mudra. Greet that intention, offering the presence for which you started your practice with. We're going to put a few of these pieces together, knowing that you've done it before. Let this one really flow for you. Here we are. We start, inhale, big reach up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Things you know well. Inhale, half lift. Keep the right foot forward. Step your left foot back. Go down dog lunge. Hands to the inside. Spin your back heel down. Interlace your hands behind your back now for no-handed lunge. Head down, arms up. Can you keep this no-handed lunge shape? But pick up your back heel and rotate into more of that low lunge shape with hips and shoulders more towards the front end of the mat. And then just step the left foot forward to power pose, no hands bound behind your back. Still in this hands bound shape. Let it blossom into warrior 3. Keep the right foot on the floor, lift the left leg up. Reach your hands back towards that left heel. And finally, set the left leg down, high lunge. Hands still bound, pull the chest up towards the sky. Release the hands, come through goddess pose for a moment. And lower the hands down to the mat, plank, cobra, and downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward. Spin the back heel down, hands to the inside, down dog lunge. If the bound position isn't the greatest spot for you, keep hands at the waist or just palm over palm behind at the low back. So here we change the hands either at the waist, palm over palm, or you take that same interlace, head down, arms up. Hands stay virtually the same, and we're playing in the legs here. Swing to look more towards that front foot, pick up the back heel as you do so, and step forward into power pose, that chair sit with head towards the knees, arms to the sky. Rise out of that into warrior 3. Right foot up, hands stay as is. Long, long torso. Squeeze those hips. Step the right foot back, lift the chest. High lunge with hands bound. And then release. The hands open up for goddesses. Goalpost. I did it, I'm here. Release the hands on either side. Step through plank. Lower to the mat. Cobra. Lift, lift, lift. Downward facing dog. Several breaths here in down dog. Look forward to your hands and step or jump to the front end of the mat. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. So good. Nice work in that sequence. We'll take a wide stance, face the long edge of your yoga mat. A few familiar standing poses here, just side by side. Turn your right toes out, left toes straight ahead. Bend the front knee, right knee, and set the elbow down to the knee. Top arm, palm down overhead. Can you reach the fingertips down to the ground, keeping hold of everything else? Now change left arm straight up to the sky. Triangle pose, straighten the bottom leg as much as possible. Coming into triangle pose. Stand all the way up. Just flip your feet. Bend your left knee, warrior two. Right away into our side angle, elbow to knee, top arm palm down overhead. If there is a break in standing poses, let it be this one. Big breaths, ease, not too much overreach. And then it's harder again, fingertips to the floor. Top arm more to the sky instead of overhead, and straighten through the bottom leg as much as you can, keeping everything else as is. Nice, you've done it. Come all the way up. Again, flip the feet back towards the first side. Turn the back toes in a slight bit. Turn the front foot all the way out. Bend the front knee. Warrior two again. Start in the same way, elbow to the knee, but this time drop the left arm behind your back. And then take your front shoulder to your inner thigh. Bound side angle. Drop the hand under your thigh to try to find the top arm. You either find your hands to clasp or your pants or shirt in between. It's easy for the head to want to dip down and the butt out here towards each of the long edges of your mat. I want you to try to aim your head and your butt towards the short edges of your mat. Unbind your hands first. Come elbow to knee, top arm palm down overhead. And then press through your back foot to lift the torso upright in warrior two. Yes, switch to the second side. Turn on your feet, turn the back toes slightly in. That's gonna help within the bound position. Since we have to get lower, we're letting that back femur bone just turn in a little bit. The hip turns in a little bit so we don't have as far to reach. Okay, left elbow goes to the knee, open palm behind your back. And then match top shoulder, front shoulder, down to the inner thigh. Now, if that shoulder is higher than your thigh, no need to try the bind. You've got to first get the shoulder down. So then, with the shoulder locked in, you can take the hand under the thigh to find the bind. And again, try to send your head more towards the short side of the mat. Scoop the tailbone underneath you to help it all out. Release the bind, build back, elbow to knee. Top arm can go palm down overhead. Take that full different rotation in the shoulder. Nicely done. Upwards to warrior two. Straighten the leg, turn the toes. Wide-legged forward fold. Touch down to the mat. Try to make the legs straight as you take your head down towards the line in between your feet. So if in our traditional high lunge, that crescent lunge, we talk about having the feet in two different lanes, not being on the tightrope. This is where we get onto the tightrope. We want hands, feet, and head all to reach to that same midline as much as possible. But the hips need to stay forward and over that same line too. So if you lean more weight into the toes, it'll keep the hips from sinking back. Now, if you're giving up something, give up the hands and head to be more forward. Everyone, place your hands to your waist, push down into your feet, and come all the way upright. Heel toe the feet to the center and give it a little bit of a shake. Face back towards the short side of your mat, front of the mat. Think of those two different railroad tracks again. Right foot forward, left foot back. Keeping the feet on those two tracks, straighten the front leg and press your back heel down to the floor. There might be a perceptible or imperceptible change here where the hips and shoulders turn slightly more towards the long edge of the mat. We're going towards revolved triangle pose, so we want to keep the hips and shoulders more towards that short side of the mat as much as possible. Today, I'm going to ask you just to reach your left arm straight out in front of you, and then hinge from the hips, push the hips but back as you reach the torso, forward. Imagine you've got that weight down and into the front heel like we did when we were trying to switch into warrior three. Keep that sense of pressure today in the front leg to bring left hand down to the ground, right arm up to the sky in revolved triangle pose, even if that means some lift in the back heel. Other days I'll say the exact opposite. But part of that self-limiting thought of what poses may work or not, it's just, do I need to change and try something a little bit different to make it work? Come on, upright again and switch sides. Left foot forward, right foot back. Again, you're starting hip distance apart, very much two separate lines. And then spin the back heel down, which might mean about heel to heel in alignment. Push the front leg straight. Again, traditional stance would be more on the tightrope for revolved triangle pose. Give yourself a little bit of space, easier to connect, shoulders, hips to face the front. Reach the right hand out. Hinge from the hips, hips back, chest forward. Then from there, set the right hand down. Big toe or pinky toe, you might surprise yourself and get that revolution over towards the pinky toe side of the foot. Left arm up to the sky. If you focus on weight into the front heel today, how does that feel? Let the back heel be a little bit lighter. Tricky part is not hyperextending through the knees when you're doing that. And then come upright and step both feet to the front of the mat. Shake it out. To let go and release, sometimes it's one small difference, yeah? Take your feet as wide as your mat here. You can face either side. This is for an arm balance pose. Make the elbows touch, forearms face up, and then go towards a squat. Get way down here. Arm pressure pose, meaning the pressure of our legs is squeezing onto our arms, and the pressure of our arms is squeezing back out onto the legs. So to get those two things to match, the hands come through, fingers face the same direction as your toes here, and you have to sit, put pressure onto the upper arm bones, like you're sitting in Malasana yogi squat. When the pressure of the thighs catches onto the upper arm bones, the heel of the hand goes down. If that's working for you, take the feet up off of the mat, cross at the ankles, keep pressing the outer arms into your inner thighs, keep squeezing your inner thumbs into your outer arms. The feet come back down, stand back up. Do it one more time, squat down. Thread the arms through the legs. Find your stopping point. Is it fingertips on the ground with heels up and just feeling a little bit of that squeeze of the legs more on your outer arm bones? Next stage again is to sit lower, more towards the squat to get the heel of the hands to settle down. If you're picking the feet up a second time, do you remember which ankle you first crossed? Take your second leg on top. Usually it's that non-dominant side. And then feet come down and we stand all the way back up. Let things shake and settle again into mountain pose at the front of the mat. Wow. When we try, what can we unlock? Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Downward facing dog. We've just used our hands, and sometimes the thought is like, gosh, I've got to get off the hands. But here, really grip the earth and send straight arms so that the pressure comes out of the wrist as a counter pose to that arm balance. And then change, set the knees down. Now with knees together, can you keep your feet a little wider than your hips? Try to iron out your calves with the heel of the hand or the thumbs in there to sit as low as you can. I need my hands for support here. If you can comfortably sit butt onto the ground in between your heels, go for it. A great way to find your placement here is to keep the hands on the ground, be more forward in the torso to the degree that your body allows. Slow and steady. If I just give myself a couple of breaths, a little time in the pose. This is a pose for me that's always like dauntingly difficult. The outside picture would suggest otherwise. So how do I let those beliefs and stories that build up set aside? Usually it's by going slower, by breathing. Proud of where I am today, proud of where you are today. Change to sit all the way down onto your butt and then lie all the way down onto your back. Stretch both legs straight up towards the sky. Do a crunch. Lift your head and shoulders off of the mat. Take your hands and Hold as high towards your ankles as you can, which might mean more on the calves or behind the thighs. Skip the knees, go for thighs, calves, or ankles here and hold. And then instead of gripping the legs, be a little calmer in the hands. Keep the right leg where it is, torso where it is, and lower the left leg down. And we're going to do this quickly 12 times. Ready? 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold both ankles, calves, thighs. Hold, hold, hold. You're still in your crunch. We've got 12 more switches. Ready? Go. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your ankles. And then bend the knees, set the head and shoulders down. Really press the back of the head, shoulders into the mat to make this one a relief. Set the soles of your feet down to the mat. Reach your hands to brush against your heels. We're going back into that hands-bound shape that we've done so often at the beginning of class, this one from bridge pose. So press down into your feet, shoulders, back of the head, and lift your hips up. Interlace the hands, roll the shoulders more up and in. Try to clasp the heel of the hand together, not just the fingers. And then lift your hips a little bit higher. Keep looking towards the sky here so that you keep the chin up, lifted just a little bit away from the chest. Heel of the hands, squeeze in. Press through your heels, lift the hips. Release the hands, lower the hips. Stay right here for a moment. The next pose is exactly the same, except we're going to lift one foot off of the ground. Not shooting the legs straight up to the sky. This is about stability in the hips here. Go back to bridge pose. Press through the feet, shoulders, back of the head. Interlace. If you are not interlacing, hold the edges of your mat. Now we're just trying to lift the right foot a few inches off of the ground. Transfer weight into the left leg, a little more into the left than the right. Try not to let the left hip dip out to the side. It still has to squeeze into the middle and pick up the right foot. Hold, hold, hold. And then set the right foot down, shift the weight to the right. Don't let the hips splay out to the side. Lift the left leg up, hold. I find this harder than when I straighten the leg all the way up. Lower both feet down, release the hips, lower it to the floor. Hug the knees into your chest. Next step is one more back bend. You go back to the original bridge pose with hands bound underneath you. Or Urdhva Dhanurasana is our wheel shape. That's with hands flipped in southpaw at the shoulders. You want to be able to see your elbows and your peripheral vision. Everyone think bridge pose first. Press down through your feet. Shoulders, back of the head, lift your hips. Urdhva Dhanurasana, my wheel friends here. Transfer the weight into your heels to lift your head and straighten the arms. I lift then, heels up to the toes as the arms go straighter. Extend through the spine, set the heels back down. Lower it down. Safe on the descent, hug the knees into your chest. Rock a bit from side to side, massage it out. Make circles with the knees on the ceiling to really massage through the low back, sacrum. Circle the opposite way as well. And then rock yourself up to a seated position. From your seated position, set the soles of the feet together, point your knees out to the side in Baddha Konasana. Bound angle pose. Hold on to your ankles and do a few more circles here. Around, around. Go the opposite way. And then fold your nose or forehead to your toes. Nose to the toes. Pull your torso back upright, hug the knees to the center. Give yourself a little hug. The unexpectedness here, instead of lying down, we stand back up. Stand up. Without overthinking or doing here. Dancer pose. Even take a moment in mountain pose. Close the eyes. Visualize yourself in Natarajasana, dancer pose. And then kick your right heel towards your seat. Open the eyes to make it easier. Hold on to that right foot. Left arm straight out in front. Think warrior 3 as your hips go back, torso forward. Feel free to bend in the standing leg. Try the second side. Find your way there through your knowledge of body, of pose, of practice. Visualize. Hold left hand to left foot. All the pieces of the practice sort of coming together here, Natarajasana. And then come back again, mountain pose. Sit down, cross-legged seat, palms open along the thighs. You can cross the ankles under the knees or cross ankles in front of each other. In Natarajasana, Lord Shiva stands on the energy of the full knowledge snake underneath and dances in her fullness. Here we sit in meditation, the spine coiled high to lift the energy to a space that's unbound, unlimited. Friends, you're welcome to stay in this seat of meditation or do a little bit more uncoiling, unwinding to find a last pose and then to lie back in Shavasana. The choice is yours, it always is. It's said that these asanas and the practice of movement through yoga is so that we can settle, so that we can let it go and be more released in this present moment. Reap the benefits right here. For those wishing to stay in your stillness a little longer, please do so. Those ready to close this time on the mat with me from your seated position, draw palms together, thumbs to the sternum. Anjali Mudra again. This gesture that means offering, that means intention. How will you take the intentions, the space you found on the yoga mat, into the full yoga of your day? We sing the sound of Om, we chant the sound of Om as a way of guiding into that next space. Please sing along, listen, or tune it out. Nice breath in. And we bow to deeply honor ourselves, each other, this practice. Onward. Namaste.